This is one device. And we are calling it iPhone.
Hello, everyone. My name is Caleb,
And I am Thisakya.
and today we will be discussing the original iPhone, how it was first conceived, and a comparison to the modern flagships of today.
I will be talking about the differences and similarities between its main competitor Samsung and the effect that this revolutionary innovation has caused upon the entire world.
We all know what the iPhone is, right? One could even say it's more recognizable today than a bar of chocolate or a common frying pan. From its humble introduction in 2007, over the course of 15 plus years, it has sold over 2 billion times to customers all over the world.
But why did this pocket-sized computer take such a firm grasp on the global population? How did Project Purple turn into the hub of the modern social media, digital photography, and the internet as we know it? And how does the 2007 invention of the year compare to the new models of the smartphone that we know and love today?
The advent of the iPhone can be thanks to the genius of then CEO Steve Jobs, a portable music player, and extreme dedication and perseverance of a small secret development team within Apple, the company that created it. Let me explain. All the way back in 1999, Steve Jobs, the Apple CEO at the time, envisioned the idea of a portable touchscreen computer that could be used among the masses. Of course, this dream would not become reality for another 8 years. However, in the years leading up to 2007, the innovative minds of Jobs and a secret department of like minded developers and designers cooperated and clashed to unveil to the public what we know today as the iPhone. There were many challenges facing Apple. At the time, the 90s were proving to be an extremely rough period of low sales and consumer interest for the company. There was a moment in time where Apple was beginning to get desperate for something that can put them back on the public spotlight. And at this low point, they decided to bring back their former CEO and co founder, Steve Jobs. Although he was regarded as a widely hated and charismatic crybaby within the workplace, no one could doubt that he was a stroke of genius which had what it takes to save Apple from their impending doom. And that is exactly what Jobs did. He brought the company back to its former glory of the 80s with significant company restructuring and the unveiling of popular products like the Macintosh G3 and the iPod. The iPod was a revolutionary handheld device that was able to play music and podcasts anywhere a person was. Although it was released to much critical acclaim and worldwide success in 2001, Steve Jobs was already thinking ahead about a new product that would change the way we see the world today. He decided to take inspiration from the previous Newton tablets that were released in 1983. Although they failed to gain much mainstream popularity themselves, Jobs liked the concept of a handheld personal assistant. After acquiring companies based on touch assisted technology, he created an exclusive and top secret department in 2003 known as Project Purple. Here, Apple's top engineers, developers, and designers dedicated years of their work and personal lives to create the masterpiece known as the iPhone. Jobs had a very sophisticated vision of Apple's next mainstream product, and that created the necessity for this extreme time commitment. He wanted a smartphone that looked sleek and minimal and included an intuitive user interface. Keep in mind that at this point in time, nothing like this existed, especially for the common public consumer. The final design that was put into use was similar to the old Newton tablets described earlier and met all of Jobs' criteria. Finally, in 2007, Steve Jobs himself unveiled the technological revolution to the public to massive anticipation, the iPhone 2G. According to CNET, this device set a new benchmark for cell phones and was a lovely device with a sleek interface, top-notch music and video features, and innovative design touches. The device sold out globally and went on to sell 6.1 million units until a successor replaced it about a year later. This device sold out globally and went on to sell 6.1 million units until its successor replaced it about a year later. Among other popular hardware and software released, the iPhone is no doubt the main factor behind Apple's resurgence and reclaim of the world's biggest technology company, beating out its rival Microsoft in 2011 for the first time in 20 years. It is a no-brainer that the iPhone upon release was ahead of its time and had many advanced features to show. However, how does Steve Jobs' original creation compare to a modern flagship of today, like the iPhone 14? Well, we can start with the lineup. In 2007, the iPhone 2G was the sole smartphone that Apple introduced to the public at a starting price of $499 and $599 for the 4 and 8 GB model respectively. On the other hand, the iPhone 14, released just this year, features 4 different models with varying storage capabilities. These include the iPhone 14, 14 Plus, 14 Pro, and the 14 Max, all ranging from 128 to an entire terabyte of storage. These include the iPhone 14, 14 Plus, 14 Pro, and the 14 Max, all ranging from 128 gigabytes to an entire terabyte of storage. Here's another obvious difference. The design of the two phones are vastly different. Even though both retain the ergonomic handheld shape with a rectangular glass screen, things have definitely changed for the flagship phones of today. For instance, the screen today now covers the entire screen and is extremely bright and colorful, while the original iPhone lags behind with a small 480p dual screen. One thing that many people might not know is that the original iPhone did not have an app store as well, meaning that a smartphone user of 2007 was stuck with the default apps with no way to customize their device. Today, you can edit just about anything on your phone, adding whatever apps or games you want and changing your lock and home screen to your desire with the ability to edit the font, color, image, and more. Of course, this is partially due to Steve Jobs' vision of a universal smartphone that anyone could use easily, and adding a level of personalization makes iPhones more unique compared to each other. Some may say that having this level of order in a phone is better, while some argue for more personalization to make a user's phone more personal to themselves. Sadly, Steve Jobs passed away in 2011 due to cancer, so the new CEO, Tim Cook, became the new operator of the company, and he subsequently started to loosen the restrictions for the company smartphone in terms of that.
Okay, now it's time to get a little competitive. Let's talk about Apple's main competitor in the smartphone world. Obviously, Samsung. Samsung was first a grocery trading company founded in 1938. Apple is an American multi-technology company founded in 1976. Although Samsung is an older company than Apple, Apple released the iPhone or the smartphone first in 2007. But remember that Apple iPhone is not the very first ever smartphone in the world. Then in 2009, Samsung decided to come and enter the phone race with Samsung Galaxy S. Okay, let's check out some advantages of Samsung compared to Apple. Samsung has a huge catalog, or we could call it a list of devices. More advanced specifications, it has powerful and more affordable mid-range devices and better screens for all of its smartphones. Apple's not behind either. Apple has a clear and well-defined range of products. All the products like iPhone 11 are still competitive in terms of features and performance. Apple has better performance and it is the most powerful smartphone in the market, including other brands. To make this easier, I'm gonna compare the two newly released phones of Apple and Samsung, the iPhone 14 Pro Max and the Samsung S22 Ultra. Samsung S22 Ultra was released in the February of 2022, while iPhone 14 Pro Max was just released in September of 2022. Okay, first I'm gonna start with the price ranges. In terms of the price, iPhone 14 Pro Max is cheaper than Samsung S22 Ultra because Samsung S22 Ultra is $1,199 and the iPhone 14 Pro Max is $1,099 in the United States. Let's talk about the display. The iPhone 14 Pro Max has a display of 6.7 inches. It has OLED, which is organic light emitting diodes, which is a display that is based on an organic substance used as the semiconductor material in light emitting diodes. The display of the iPhone 14 Pro Max also has Super Retina XDR, 2796 into 1290 pixels. The display also has a 120 Hz of refresh rate and a maximum brightness of 2000 nits. Let's talk about the Samsung S22 Ultra. It has a 6.8-inch display which also has the OLED technology, including dynamic AMOLED 2X technology, which is more efficient than passive OLED panels because the normal OLED panels require a higher voltage when it increases resolution, and the AMOLED doesn't. AMOLED is a type of thin film display technology in which organic compounds form an electroluminescent material, and an active matrix refers to the technology behind the pixels. The display of Samsung S22 Ultra also has a 1440 into 3200 pixels, and it also has a similar refresh rate to the iPhone 14 Pro Max, which is 120 Hz. The maximum brightness of Samsung S22 Ultra's display is 1750, which is actually lower to the iPhone 14 Pro Max because the iPhone 14 Pro Max has a display which has a maximum brightness of 2000 nits. Let's talk about my favorite part, the cameras. iPhone 14 has a camera technology of triple photo module, which technically means 3 cameras. It has 148 MP main camera, 112 MP ultra wide angle camera, 112 MP telephoto lens, LiDAR, which means light detection and ranging sensor, 12 MP selfie camera. Talking about Samsung S22 Ultra, it has a quadruple camera, which means 4 cameras. It has one 108 MP main camera, 12 MP ultra wide angle camera, which is actually similar to the iPhone 14 Pro Max, 2 10 MP telephoto lenses, and 140 MP selfie camera. Let's compare the videography options in both phones. The iPhone 14 Pro Max provides a lot of options in terms of videography, like cinematic mode, action mode, slow motion. The iPhone 14 Pro Max also has ProRes, HDR, Dolby Vision HDR, stereo sound, OIS with sensor shift. And the Samsung S22 Ultra only provides a selfie sensor in terms of videography. Let's talk about storage, which is something that is very similar in both phones because both phones come with 128 gigabytes, 256 gigabytes, 512 gigabytes, and 1 terabyte storage, and the users can choose which type of storage they want. Let's talk about the system on chip, or the SoC, of both phones. The Apple iPhone 14 has a SoC of Apple 16 Bionic, and the Samsung S22 Ultra has a SoC of Samsung Exynos, and the Samsung has a SoC of Samsung Exynos. I want to talk about the battery life of both phones. The battery life of Apple iPhone 14 Pro Max is 4352 milliampere hour. It also has wired charging, which is 20 volt USB. It also comes with wireless charging, which is a 15-volt Qi or MagSafe. But when the iPhone is provided, there's no charger included in it. And the Samsung S22 Ultra has a 5000 milliampere hour of battery life. It has a 45-volt USB PD 3.0 wired charge. It also comes with 15-volt Qi wireless charging. It also comes with 4.5-volt reverse wireless charging. But when the phone is given, there's no charger included in it. Let's talk about something else that is also similar in both iPhone 14 Pro Max and Samsung S22 Ultra, which is the audio. They both have stereo and they both do not have headphone jacks. When it comes to choosing between iPhone 14 Pro Max and Samsung S22 Ultra, I really don't know. It depends on the user, what brand they want to do, or what specifications, what features they need. Honestly, it's up to the user to choose which phone and which brand they want. Alright, I'm gonna move on and talk about how this invention of the iPhone impacted our world. The iPhone made communication more convenient than ever before. Like FaceTime, it made us way more easier to get contacted with our family, friends, and even our loved ones who are living in faraway countries. iPhone users can get their stuff done in one device, like Apple Pay. We can pay to things without having to take our card all the time out of our pocket. But not every place allows Apple Pay because they just don't like it, I guess. But there are a lot of places that allow Apple Pay now. The iPhone even made photography from a hobby to a part of our daily life because the iPhone has high quality cameras. I think most of the people want to take an iPhone because they love the cameras in it.
Okay, I think that's all for today. Thank you for coming by and watching this episode.
We really hope you learned something from this episode. Have a nice day.